Hello, grade 7s, it's me. I'm back. We're gonna do some playing. So get your instruments out, warm them up, blow out your spit, and let's make some noise. We're gonna start with number 87 on page 24, which we have done before and shouldn't be much of a surprise. I'm just gonna get my metronome going here. Okay. Okay, so we're just doing long tones, okay? So nice big breath of air, sustain through the slur. 1, 2, 3. Goal being a smooth, nice tone throughout the whole exercise. Now we're gonna switch on back to the back of the book to page 43, where we're gonna do our B-flat concert major scales and arpeggios and all of that. Because that's stuff that you guys need to be able to do. Okay, so B-flat concert major scale, top of page 43. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, looks like my mic fell over. So, now, right, and so we did actually, I think we tried the concert E-flat major scale last time, I think. So we will try that in a second. We're going to do the chromatic scale first, which is the one at the bottom of the, mosquito bite on the back of my leg, it's killing me. The last one at the bottom of the page, the chromatic scale, so all the sharps and flats. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the last thing, this is a big challenge for you, is getting way up into the high register. So we're going to try the concert E-flat major scale in arpeggios. So that's number 2 on page 43. Concert E-flat major. Make sure to check your key signature. If you want to play, if you need to play the lower part, you can, because some of your parts will split and jump down to a lower register, and that's fine if you have to do that. If you want a challenge, see if you can try and do the upper register, okay? 1, 2, 3. Now, if that's a little too much for you, I get it. It's okay. Just try your best, all right? So we're going to rewind and head back to page 24 and 25. Now, I believe we got up to 99 last time. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then go back and do the other videos. You got to do this from the beginning, otherwise you're going to miss a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to pick things up from 99, okay? Which is the last one we did. Make sure you're doing all the dynamic changes, getting louder or softer. Make sure you're slurring where it's slurred and staccatos where it is applicable. With the repeat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay. If that's too fast for you, stop the video, do it slower, and you move on when you're ready. So we're going to skip over to the next page. We're going to jump to 101. Now this is more of an an exercise for our brass players. The idea here is we're doing our lip slurs, right? We have the same fingering and then changing between two notes. So the first one we have F to B flat for trombones or G to C for trumpets, right? Which is all open. And then measures 3 and 4 we have E natural to low A, or for trumpet, F sharp to a low B. And so that's all second valve for trumpets, or second slide position for trombones. And then the third measure, first valve, all of it for trumpet, or third position for trombones. The idea here, we want as smooth a transition as possible, so we don't want to hear like right? We want them to be the same. Okay. Lots of air. Number 101, and 1, 2, 3. There's no standard notes. Everything in that exercise is slurred. So the only time you should tongue is at the beginning of each of those two measure slurs. Da. Okay, it's all air control. Okay, so we're going to try number 102. Okay, low down. Now this one starts up in the upper register, and it's forte. So if you're a brass player, you need lots of air to start up there. Otherwise, you're just going to hit something else entirely different. Okay? Find your note first. It's all slurred again, just like the previous one. And here's a big tip for our brass players. When you go to play a run or a slurred line, that the notes are going higher gradually, right? Like, right? if you don't increase your airflow, if your speed of your air doesn't increase as you go, this is what you're going to hear. Right? You're not going to, you're going to try to go up to say an A, or on the trombone a G, and you're going to drop down to a lower note because you don't have the air speed to get going there. So you need to like increase the air as you go higher, okay? You won't be able to play ascending slurred lines if you don't increase your air. It's like trying to push a barrel up a hill, like on its side. If you just start and you just keep going at the same tempo, speed, eventually it's going to be too heavy and it's going to roll back on you, right? And then you're going to fall down to a lower note, or it'll roll over you. So you need to use the momentum and keep going and push, 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 keep going. Okay? So this is 102. 1, 2, 3. Ah, wrong. Sorry, I didn't check the key signature. Mr. Lorden failed. It's a B flat. 1, 2, 3. That kind of an exercise requires a lot of air if you're going to play that on brass. Now, we're going to have a look at number 103 here. Now, we're going to talk about dots. Okay? So we know what a dotted half note is, which is a 3-beat note, right? But that's because a dot, if you recall, means you add half the value of whatever note it's on to its length. So in the case of a half note, which is worth 2 beats, when you add a dot, you take half of the note that it's on, which would be 1, and you add it, right, which makes it a 3. If you have a whole note, which is worth 4 beats, and you add a dot, it means you add half its value. So a dotted whole note is worth 6. In the case of a quarter note, a dotted quarter note's only worth 1 beat. And when we split them in half, we get eighth notes. So it's like a 1.5 beat note. So if we're thinking maybe dotted quarter eighth, that would be like ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta. You need to count 3/8 notes when you see a dotted quarter. So in 103, we have several different ways of writing dotted quarters. So at the beginning, we have just eighth notes, right? T, 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 T. Now we have 3/8 notes tied, which means they're all the same note. So it's 3/8 notes worth of time, right? 1 and 2, and then we have an eighth note. So it would be like ta, ti, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have a quarter note tied to an eighth note, which would mean the exact same thing. It's worth 3/8 notes. So you have to count through that. 1 and 2, right? Followed by an eighth note. Then we actually have 2 dotted quarters, which are just the same. 3/8 notes worth of time. So it's in 2/4, and it asks you to clap. Okay. So just starting, just saying T's and ta's. Anything longer than a quarter note, which would mean a dotted quarter note, counts as a ta. But all the eighth notes are still T, unless they're tied, of course, right? So just saying the top line of 103 on ta's and t's. We'll say it once and then we'll try the exercise. Ready? 1 and 2 and here we go. T, 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 ta, T, ta, T, ta, T, ta, T, ta. Okay? Now, very lightly, I want you to clap your hand, clapping eighth notes, right? Like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Okay? And now we're going to clap while we try and say that rhythm. 1, 2, here we go. T, 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 ta, T, ta, T, ta, T, ta, T, ta. Okay? So you got to count all 3 eighth note pulses, right? Ta, T, ta, T, ta, T, ta. 3 of them, right? Now, we tried that on our horn or our instrument. Okay? Make sure to check your key signature, not that it's really important at this moment, but always do it. Okay? We're going to try and play 103. 1, 2, 1. Gotta get used to those 3 eighth note beats. Now you probably sung lots of pieces or played lots of pieces that actually have this rhythm in it. You probably just never really recognized it. So we're going to move on to 104, and this will be our final one for the day. And this is going to be a pretty big challenge for some of you. Now, you're going to go, oh, this is a simple song. I've sung this song a million times when I was, in elementary school or things like that. This is Alouette, right? But it's actually got quite a few things in it that are going to be a little bit more challenging for you guys. First thing is it has a new marking that we haven't seen in band. And this is, well, 2 things actually, DC and fine. So at the end of this, it says DC al fine, which is in Italian, DC means da capo, which means the top, or the cap, da capo. And da capo means, when you get to a DC, that means go back to the beginning, go to the top, okay? It's kind of like how when you see a repeat sign and there's nothing else, that means go back to the beginning. A DC means that. But you might have a long piece of music with 400 measures, and there's a whole bunch of repeats all over the place. You can't just put a repeat at the end, because then it goes, well, which repeat do I go back to, right? So instead of doing that, they'll write DC, which means go right back to the beginning. Okay? But there's more to it. It says DC al fine, which means go back to the beginning until it says fine. Because you'll notice that this is 2 lines long, but the double line, which indicates the end of a piece, is actually halfway through. It's at the end of the first line. That's because, technically speaking, this piece is actually 3 lines long. So the way this goes is we play from the beginning, we play through that first line, and we keep playing. Even though it says fine, which means the end, and there's that double bar line, we just ignore that. We just keep playing. We just remember that's there. And then we go to the second line, keep playing, and it says DC al fine. Oh, well, now that I've got to this part, now I have to go back to the beginning, which means go back to the beginning and keep playing until you get to the fine. So we play from the very top, we go to the beginning, we keep going, we go to the second line, get to the DC al fine, go back to the beginning, and then we stop at the end of the first line, because that's where the fine is, which means that's where the actual ending of the piece is. Now some of you might say, well, why even have that written in? Well, here's your question. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is 16 bars of music. Now, if the composer wanted you to play that section again, they could have just wrote out those extra 8 bars of music. They could have wrote down all the staffs, all the bar lines, the treble clefs, the key signature, wrote in all the notes, all the slurs, all the articulation, done all that, and it would have taken them like a whole bunch of time. Or they could go, actually, it's the exact same part as the beginning, so why don't I just I'll just tell them to play that part again. It saves them a lot of time, and it makes less music for you to read, so it's easier, actually. So, I'm going to play this. This is actually way under tempo. I'm going to play this slow first, and then I'm going to do it at full tempo. So this is the slow tempo. So we have slurs, tongues, we have dotted quarter notes, we have 3 different dynamics. We have piano, mezzo forte, and we have a DC al fine. So there's a lot going on in this one. Okay. 1, 2, 1. Okay. Now I'm going to do it at its proper tempo, which is much faster. Okay. And I don't really want you to do it at this tempo unless you know you can do all the slurs, all the tonguing, and all the dynamics and do everything nice and clear. Okay? There's no point in doing it faster if you're skipping stuff, because then you're training yourself to ignore the details. Okay? So this is the end goal speed. Okay? Work your way up to it. 1, 2, 1. Okay. So that's probably lots for you guys to work on for a while. So keep working, keep practicing. I miss you guys. I know some of you are going to be in the building next week. I don't think I'm going to get to see most of you though, because I don't think we're doing electives for grade 7s and 8s. But you're obviously welcome to come down and visit me as long as you keep a few feet away from me. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in person. So, see you soon. Bye-bye.